Hello and welcome to the Panni webinar and webcast series on the cannabis industry and use of Sage X3 to streamline and control business processes for companies operating in the cannabis sector. The agenda for today: we will look at a brief overview of the cannabis industry in Canada. Next, we will walk through the requirements of CTLS from Health Canada and look at the complexities in reporting. Following that, I will demo Panni's CTLS module for Sage X3. You'll be able to see how this module allows CTLS reporting very easily and efficiently with just 2 to 3 clicks. In closing, we will look at Panni's Sage X3 solution for the cannabis industry, which are tailored to startup companies all the way through listing on the exchange. Finally, we will have a question and answer segment that will answer common questions that we've received on CTLS reporting in Sage X3. Before we begin, a little bit about myself. I'm James Hurin, Senior Financial Consultant. I have 20 years of experience in finance and accounting at the C-level. Prior to Panni, I was Director of Finance with a NASDAQ-listed cannabis company, High Tide Inc. I was integral in the success of the IPO, rapid growth of the group, and championed the Sage X3 implementation. With me today is Abubakar Asif, President of Panni. Over to you, Abu.
Thank you, James. My name is Abubakar Asif, and I'm the president and founder here at Panni Management. We founded the company about 11 years ago with the express mission of helping Albertan companies improve their business processes and increase their efficiencies. Since then, we've expanded across North America and have clients from east to the west coast. We have clients in all sorts of different industrial sectors, from food and beverage, chemicals, cannabis, to general manufacturing and distribution. A little bit about ourselves and our history with the cannabis industry. We have been involved with the cannabis industry just before its legalization. We have on our client as one of the largest retailer, which at that point was expanding its business operations and going public. What we essentially did was we brought our deep expertise in the food and beverage sector and packaged it for the cannabis world. As you know, there are a lot of common similarities between the two, from food traceability and product recall requirements to making sure the operations are streamlined as much as possible. What we have done is we have developed modules specifically for the cannabis industry, such as the CTLS, the B300, and the extraction processes within the X3 world. What we're going today is be doing a series of webcasts to showcase the product for you, from showing the CTLS module today to doing future webcasts on the B300, and again, the overall extraction processes for the cannabis industry. Thank you. Over to you, James.
Thank you, Abu. In Canada, the Cannabis Act and its regulations provide a complete licensing framework to have legal access to cannabis by controlling and regulating its production, distribution, and commercialization. The mandate is to oversee cannabis supply chain, and it's a shared responsibility across federal, provincial, and territorial departments. CTLS and B300 reporting have some overlap, but are submitted entirely separately. The CTLS is submitted to Health Canada, and it's focused on movement of cannabis in the industry. So you're handling distribution, those types of things. The B300 is focused on duties and taxes, and that's submitted to Canada Revenue Agency. CTLS applies to cultivators at a micro level, standard or nursery, processors, including micro or standard, sellers of medical cannabis, distributors, and retailers. The choice of an ERP can have dramatic effects on corporate resources and business processes. So a lot of industry participants need to make a selection of ERP. This can help a lot upfront. You can imagine that there's changing and evolving distribution. So you're receiving cannabis, you're selling cannabis and having to deliver. It's moving through the production process. So the advantage of the choice of the right ERP is going to help streamline critical business functions, like, for example, accounting, manufacturing, quality control, to name a few. This is an imperative choice for accurate and timely reporting. In our experience, we've come across many companies with separate systems. So they use for distribution purposes, they'll use systems like ample and elevated signals. This is for inventory movement and dollar valuation. Then it comes time to record the transactions in the accounting systems. Examples of these that we've experienced are QuickBooks and Sage 50. So there's lots of hours spent connecting these processes in Excel spreadsheets. You have to manipulate the information and move it around to help it make sense and build continuity so that you can record the transactions. This causes a time-consuming and arduous and complex reporting process. There is a lot of trouble at month end when there's already pressure connecting this separation in the accounting and inventory valuation to produce the reporting packages. The key elements in CTLS reporting. So there are 5 major areas. And this is, again, it's focused on the movement of cannabis. So within your company, there's packaged, unpackaged, selling activities being medical and recreational, and some business statistics covering the overall company. CTLS reporting complexities. So you can imagine how in a growing company, you have evolving and changing operational requirements. So the production lines, for example, in an extraction type of company, the operations lines are going to need to move around changing extraction requirements. This module, CTLS for Sage X3, allows reporting. You don't have to be concerned with what's happening in operations. It's already connected by the inventory moves. It flows through into the CTLS reporting. And as we'll see in a few minutes, just through a couple of clicks, you'll be able to produce the report. The movements will be captured. The convenience is there for you, saving a lot of time and effort. You can spend this time in other value-added areas of the company. You don't have to spend time sifting through Excel spreadsheets, and internal discussion is saved. Reporters can choose from one of 2 methods. So the first method is a manual entry. This is very time-consuming, and you need to take the spreadsheets that you've produced if you're not using an ERP, or directly from the ERP, you would enter that manually. This is a very complex and time-consuming process. The CTLS module for Sage X3 automates fields. They're populated throughout the movement in the ERP. With 2 to 3 clicks, you can produce a CSV file after the report is closed. We'll see that in a couple minutes. And you can upload it to Health Canada. So without any further delay, let's get right into it and see how the CTLS module operates in Sage X3. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign into Sage X3. And we're going to start off on the landing page. So this is your CTLS dashboard. You can see the common reports that are available as they've been produced in the past. The CTLS report with quick access functions. And this is the CTLS setup. So all of these nodes is what we'll be going over right now. To start off with, let's take a look at product categories. So the categories allow industry participants to group the functions or to group the products that operate in similar ways, and they behave in similar ways within the business. So with the product category, we're going to click on the CTLS tab. And you can see within the setup here, there is, if you recall from the presentation earlier, packaged and unpackaged cannabis. This is your product type. The classes, we have fresh cannabis, dried cannabis, solids and extracts, to name a couple. The retail units, this could be each or kilograms, and the conversion rate. So if they're packaged as a case, the CTLS report is only interested in the retail units. So that conversion rates helps break down the cases. Back to the dashboard. Product setup. So with the product setup, there's a lot of convenience that's built right into this with the CTLS module. So if we go ahead and click on this tab, you can see here this connects directly with the categories so that when you set up a new product, this can be preloaded. You don't have to worry. It's directly connected with the product categories. So it can operate like a similar category, or you can change it if it's required for that particular product. Production bill of materials. So for example, in a cannabis company that is an extraction process, we have the CTLS quantities produced. This is, so you have incoming cannabis into the extraction process. So if that is going to be consumed, you can say that quantities are being consumed and produced. So if you don't have quantities produced, this will save you a lot of double counting within the CTLS reporting. Customer setup. So just like before, we're going to click on the CTLS tab. So the requirements of the CTLS report say that the levels of the customer must be reported on. So we have here, you can see testers, researchers, and processors. Reporters of CTLS need to report on the type of transaction that is being sold to that customer. So you can see here the different types of sales. So now let's take a look at the BOM code setup. BOM code setup allows you to determine where a particular transaction should show up in CTLS. For example, if it is a packaging BOM, you can identify that the material was used in producing a packaged product and appropriately reported on the CTLS. Miscellaneous code setup. So what we're going to do here is look at the adjustments that may be required for cannabis operating companies. So you may be required to destroy cannabis if it's lost or stolen, if there's an other category, or shrinkage. For example, you can see down here, it talks about drying and processing loss. So that's the setup. Now let's take a look at the report. So we go ahead and click on the dashboard in that node. And here we are at the CTLS report. So as we mentioned earlier, there are 5 major categories. So if you want to look at any one of these categories, you can just go ahead and click on that tab. So for packaged inventory, we have the opening inventory. This is in units. Then we have the opening value. So these are the dollar values. This comes directly from the movements within your ERP that are related to inventory movements. You have quantities packaged, received, shipped, and any adjustments that are required to come to the closing value and the units. So if we scroll back up to the unpackaged inventory, we're going to go ahead and take a look at April. So I'm just going to click in this left-hand list. You can see all the reports that are available here. They've been produced. So we're working with April. We want to see more about this quantity received. So within this report, you can click on the action button here, and we want to see the detailed report. So if I click on that, what's going to be produced is a CSV file. So if I go ahead and open this up, this can be sent to other internal people for analysis or discussion. This contains all of the required fields for Health Canada. Also on this same line, quantity received, we want to investigate about this 5,126 kilograms. So we want to know more about this. You can look at doing a stock modification. So this is an adjustment. You can type in the new value and the comments, the reason for that adjustment. If you wanted to see the line items that make up those details, you're just going to click on the next available item. And you can see these are all the line items that make up that 5,126 kilograms. They're all laid out here for you. So once we're happy with the units produced within the report, what we're going to do is we're going to close this report. You can see the status here is open. So we want to go ahead and close this report because we're ready to report. So now you can see the status is closed. Okay? And what we're going to do next, you're going to see how quickly you can do this. So CSV file creation. I can just open this file, save it in a predefined location on my shared drive. For the purpose of discussion today, we're going to save it on the desktop. I'm going to give it a name. And we're going to click Save. Now this is exactly as Health Canada requires. What we're going to do is we're going to log into the secure portal and we're going to upload this file to Health Canada. In the scenario where we need to reopen this particular report, so we're going to reopen April. Just remember the status is closed. We're going to go back to the home page or the landing page. So we're going to go to CTLS reopen. This can be done quickly and efficiently just by selecting the site, the year, period, clicking OK. When we go back into the report, you can see the status is now open. So if we needed to make an adjustment, we could do it at that time. You remember to run the modifications. Once we had done that, we could create a new version. So let's go ahead and do that. So what you want to do is you want to click New. We're going to select the site, the year, and the period. Hit refresh. And it's going to populate the information that's particular to April 2021. So once we're ready, we're going to click Create. And you'll see it populate on the left-hand side in the menu selection screen. We're going to have report number 16. If I just hit refresh here, you can see it there. So this is an amended file. And again, you can just submit it within a couple of clicks with the CSV file creation. So as you can see from that demonstration, the CTLS module for Sage X3 provides a lot of convenience and time savings so that time can be spent in other value-added areas of the business. The integration of the information will be within a single system. So It manages the reporting requirements by period. You can create multiple versions if you come across needed adjustments. This is all done within a couple clicks and in a very convenient timing. So if you can imagine, you're now having reporting requirements that are audited. So the auditors will be providing their queries to you, and you can show them the CTLS reporting. This will provide a lot of time savings. You won't have to connect the processes and show them the spreadsheets. It's directly within Sage X3. As mentioned, the CTLS module for Sage X3 produces a CSV file exactly as Health Canada requires. So this can be uploaded to the secure website. Once you save it on your shared drive in an approved spot, you can upload it to Health Canada in a minimum of time. So now let's take a look at some pricing and packages that are available. The CTLS module is available on a pre-built basis for new Cannabis ERP deployments or as an add-on to existing Sage X3 deployments. This is available in monthly or yearly subscriptions. We offer a starter and advanced package. The starter package is available for a quick rollout for startup companies in the cannabis space. We have packaged every essential function for your cannabis business needs. This allows companies to have a world-class ERP quickly with a lot of key functionalities and start getting the return on investment. The advanced package is geared more toward larger companies and more complex business requirements with larger business operations. For example, with the starter package, you may be operating with a single site. With the advanced package, you may be operating in multiple legislations, multi-currencies, or countries. And now, before we close, a few frequent questions we receive about CTLS. How is the product licensed? Well, the product is licensed by the site basis on which you have to report on for CTLS. How quick is it to deploy this product? You can deploy the solution and start reporting within hours. Can I deploy Panni's CTLS solution after going live with Sage X3? Absolutely. You can deploy the solution at any time. It will also provide reporting on months prior to deploying CTLS. So all your information is captured and you can report on it. What sort of support is available with Panni's CTLS module on an ongoing basis? Panni provides continuous support for each month filing with Health Canada. If your business process changes and you require additional configuration or customization, it's covered with your licensing fee. And the last example of our frequently asked questions, can the solution handle the reporting when the class of cannabis products has not changed during a process? For example, during grinding? Yes, the bill of material setup allows us to appropriately report these kinds of scenarios. So if you have any questions or would like to know more, we would love to be in contact with you. Please feel free to reach out to us. The contact details are listed here. Thank you for your time today.